Today we're going to talk about government spending, which is the third component of the national accounts. So national accounts is also another term for aggregate expenditure. So allow me to give you a brief introduction on what government spending is. In general, there are two types of government spending, and the first type is known as the government's final consumption expenditure. And the second kind is known as government investment activities. Just like households, governments spend as well. Now, these are goods and services that are bought by the government, and the difference between this type of consumption and household consumption is that the government tries to satisfy the needs of the community. For example, the community needs defense, right? As a country, they need to protect themselves, so the government might spend on things like military, building their army, air force, and the navy. Another case might be spending on social welfare, for example, helping out the low-income groups, building homes for the homeless, creating charities, funds, etc. So these are also expenditure which satisfy the needs of the community. Another example I can think of would be cultural building, to establish some form of culture within the country. Maybe building museums, building landmarks that are significant in some way, maybe like the Statue of Liberty, the Eiffel Tower, etc. Moving on to government investment activities, I can think of two examples. Now, the first type of investment might be investment in infrastructure. So what is this infrastructure investment? Well, you may be spending on things like systems. So systems include transport, technology, healthcare, manufacturing facilities, education. Now, all these systems are meant to spur some kind of a productivity in the economy. So this is a form of investment because there are going to be future returns. Now, another type of investment I can think of would be research spending. So the government might build R&D facilities, and they might even give grants to promote productivity and innovation. So can you identify any of the grants in your country that promotes productivity and innovation? So to facilitate your thinking, the next question you should be asking yourself is, why would the government want to spend so much? And why is government spending part of the national accounts? So, well, the answer is very simple. It's because when the government increases its spending, you will notice that GDP increases as well. And if you go the other way around, where the government cuts its spending, you will notice that the GDP is going to fall. I'm going to use a very simple example to explain this phenomenon. So let's just imagine that the government is going to spend on developing some kind of a railway. Okay, so when the government decides to develop a railway, what is required is that it's going to need some construction workers, it's going to need some architects, and it's definitely going to need engineers to do the job, and it's also going to need a construction company to manage all these people, right? So what happens is that when the government spends, all these individuals over here will get a form of income, right? So the construction company gets the profits, and the rest of them will earn maybe a wage or income. So that is why when government spends, the GDP is going to increase, and vice versa. When they cut their spending, GDP is going to drop. Now, let's talk about managing the GDP as from the point of view of the government. But before I go into that, I just want to explain a little new concept over here, which is the concept of the natural GDP or the potential GDP, and we denote this as YN. So what is natural or potential GDP? It is defined as the highest level of GDP sustainable over the long run. Now, there is a highest level, which means that there is a limit, because a country is naturally limited by natural or institutional constraints. Some types of natural constraints might be the lack of land, oil, and gas. Let me give you an example. Like Singapore is a very small country, therefore one of our limitations would be the lack of land. Now, institutional constraints might include the lack of government regulations, the lack of human resources, and the lack of technology, etc. These are the things that are controlled by humans. So this is known as institutional constraints. So you combine these two constraints together, you will notice that there will be a highest level of GDP that a country can actually sustain over the long run.
Thanks for watching a sample of the Quickonomics online learning experience. We hope you've enjoyed it. We believe that true happiness lies in realizing ambitions and dreams. That's why we make our products specific to your needs, simple to understand and captivating, so that you can learn effectively while saving time, realizing those ambitions and dreams. The Quickonomics online learning experience is a range of supplementary lectures, tutorials, and exam solutions in the form of videos, which you can conveniently view anytime, anywhere. Watching our videos before and after your regular lessons at school, we aim to give you joy in learning and build academic confidence at the comfort of your own relaxed learning environment. So how can you begin? We welcome you to purchase Quickie Dollars to redeem the videos for full access to the Quickonomics online learning experience. Thank you for starting with Quickonomics.